Hello YouTube. So right now we are in episode 5 and we are going to do some artisan missions. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on over to the artisan mission terminal. Now if you remember back to the tutorial, the one with the orange screen is the mission terminal. That is a general destroy and deliver. Then we have the explorer, the artisan, and the entertainer. I've never actually done an entertainer mission, but I can tell you that's not what I wanted. Get back up there. Okay, so we find the artisan mission terminal, and by the way, they all look the same. So if you find this one, looks kind of like a computer with a blue screen, that's the one. So there are two types of missions. There are survey and then there's crafting. The survey missions are garbage. You don't want to do them at all. But just to show you how they work, I'm going to pick the cheapest one because it should be 8 meters to the north. That's probably not likely. Usually you have to be 1,000 meters outside of town. But I'm going to pick the cheapest one so that way it won't be as difficult to find. I need to find an inert petrochemical. The efficiency is 50. That means I need to find a 50% source, so the waypoint indicator will need to be at a 50% or higher. And let's see, this doesn't say really anything important. So let's go ahead and accept that. Okay, so I need to find my minerals. No, actually I need chemical. And inert petrochemical. And it looks like we will actually right there. So again, I prefer to use the creature mount because the creature mount provides speed without the significant penalty of the machine cost. So we just keep going, and generally it's good to keep this window open. Waypoint to the highest concentration has been activated. Resource pocket, it's too close. Is too close. 493 meters. Oh, I lost my place. Let's stop that. It's 493 meters to the mission giver to be useful for them. Go find one at least 1,024 meters away. Okay, so we will just pick a direction. Oh, and it's really good to put on your overhead map. So you see, well, let's get rid of this. You see all of these yellow dots here. Those mean that they will not attack you. And then, ooh, check that out. These are narglatches, and oh crap. and I'm going to die. Even though I'm running my peace macro, which is this, you can see my peace is... Oh, no, I'm dead. And it would appear that after the last time I died, I didn't use the cloning facilities. So this is what happens when you die. You should, by the way, read all of these little text things that pop up. That way you can get all of the little blurbs that they provide for you. Which, by the way, the Emperor's Retreat is where you start the Imperial theme park. If you intend on going Imperial, then at some point you will want to start the quest series for the Imperial theme park. Why isn't this loading? Okay, well, my game client crashed, which is rather inconvenient. But basically, this is the area that you respawn in after you die. It tells you your stuff is decaying and which items are decaying. So crafter's pants are garbage anyway, and soft undershirt is cheap. Dress shoes are pretty garbage anyway, so not really all that much is lost. So now when you die, and I guess this is a pretty handy point to point out, even though it's not really part of doing an artisan mission. When you die, you need to come over here to the cloning terminal, double click, yep, okay, great. And then over here, ensure all, yep. Okay, so now I am fully insured and cloned, but now if you notice my handbar over here, oh, rubber banding. That's called rubber banding, by the way, when you are somewhere and then you just magically jump backwards. So if you notice, my handbar has black in it. That means I have wounds. So if we come over here to my character sheet, which is right here, you can see that I gained 105 battle fatigue and a good bit of wounds. So our first step is to go over to the medical center. Every major player city has a medical center. Again, we're still here in Theed. So medical center is one building over, so that won't be too bad for us. And then if you see just off in the distance, that is the cantina. So a medic can heal the health and action wounds, but not wrong one, wounds. So a medic can heal the health and action wounds, but not the mind wounds or the battle fatigue. So I'm going to get into this later when we have a medical or a medic tutorial. But I've just got a little macro that runs in the background, and you can see the numbers are dropping down pretty good. $32. Just a little bit more. So you can see back in the previous video when we talked about the no log macro, having all this crap fill up the log for no reason at all is something a lot of people find very annoying. So using the /corpse is a pretty handy way of preventing yourself from logging out without actually Okay, so I dumped the macro because I now have no wounds that a medic can heal. So I now have no wounds that a medic can heal, and then I've got 100 mind wound and 105 battle fatigue. So that's actually pretty minor, but let's run over to the cantina. Over here we have an ATST. It's pretty neat. I don't know why the Empire decided to park it mostly inside of a building. But, you know, they got to do something with their time. Okay. So we'll just click on one of these people. We'll click on watch. I start watching Doriana. And then come over here, and she healed 100 points of my mind wounds without really even trying. And my battle fatigue is almost done. And my battle fatigue is gone. So now I can click on her. She stops moving. Say stop watching. And I'm all healed up. So now we will go back to what we were doing. This time I'm going to have my overhead map on first. Now if you remember back to before I died, which was rude, there were yellow things and red things on the map. Red things have multiple zones, if you will, like circles around them. And based on their level, you will trigger into a given amount of threat. So based on your threat level, they will attack you. So if you are considerably lower level, then you will trigger on a zone that is much closer or much farther away than somebody that would be a higher level. So you want to avoid seeing red things on the map. So it's good to have your overhead map up, and it's also good to Isn't that a nice view? Oh, I wonder. Oh, it saved it that time. Isn't that a nice view? I love it. So you don't need to worry about running down the edge of a cliff. You just kind of go crazy like this, and eventually you'll get down there. And actually, to speed things up a little, where'd my bike go? There it is. Oop. Too far. Yeah, this is a bit crazy here. There are some people that complain about the physics in the game, but really, it's a lot more like climbing Mount Everest. You know, you can go up a sheer cliff as a human. It's not really that big of a deal. It may be slower. And you do go up hills a lot slower than you can on flat ground. Well, I need to go 1,000 meters away from town. So what I'm going to do... This guy here, this waypoint is a scout trainer. So I am about to crash into a building. I'm going to use this to determine basically how far I am from Theed. Yeah, no, I don't want to go in that direction. Well, let's follow this one. Okay, so I've got the surveying macro that I created, or we went over last time. And all I'm doing is just driving in the direction of the waypoint. Where's my way? Oh, right over there. Not a very high percentage. Oh, that's the biggest concentration is right here. Well, I need at least 50%. So that is not going to be sufficient. Well, you can't survey while you are over water. So, all right. Oh, nice. So, Vittorioria, or whatever you like to call it, is over 50%. Now, I actually completed my mission. Mission complete. Your reward of 446 credits has been placed in your bank. And I lost more money than I earned because I died and used the cloning facility. So, I personally do not like these missions where you go out and do surveying. Not only do they not pay well, they really just take too much time. So there was one other type of mission. So we're going to go back to town and we are going to do one of those missions. And I can show you how that works. This is actually another good example to take a slight little detour. So we are in a player city, and this is a parking garage. So right here, if I click and hold on my vehicle, it didn't come up. Try it again. Okay, repair vehicle. Now if you take notice of the current health bar, there's just a little bit of white. So repair cost is more money than I have. So we're going to skip that. But if I had money, I would have fixed it. That way, it doesn't break down on me somewhere in the middle of the woods. So you can see I have more red dots over here, and I want to avoid those. I also can see that there are red dots here. Now let's actually go back. Okay, so this is a good spot right here. Now I can see that there is, if I take this off, I can see that there are 2 red dots, and I can hover over them. A Mauler Apprentice and a Mauler Apprentice. And then there are some yellows. So yellows won't attack me unless I attack them, or I'm in a party of people that attack them. But, you know, if they're left alone, then they'll be fine. The red are considered to be aggressive, and depending on how low level you are, determines how far away they will get irritated with you. Now if you turn on the con, it's short for consider, it gives you this little ring. So you can see there's 1 yellow here, and that is a vine roll baby that has a green line around it, and then the other ones have a red line. The red line means they would kill me if I got into a fight with them. Okay, I had to cut the video there because my dogs were barking. So we are now back at the Artisan Mission Terminal, and I've clicked on the Crafting tab, and let's sort by the highest paying. That's garbage. Hit refresh. Hit refresh. Okay, so here's a 1300. It really doesn't matter. You know, it says 109 meters. That's just where you start this chain. You actually have a 3-step process. And also the direction is irrelevant. So we'll just click on accept. And I want at least 1300. So you just keep hitting the refresh rate and accept. Okay. So I drive over to the first waypoint, and it's good to get 2 missions. You can only have 2 missions at a time. Click on it, doesn't matter what he says. And now 150 meters away. Looks like he's right over here in this alleyway. He or she, doesn't really matter. Okay, so did a bunch of talking. Now I've got a bunch of garbage here in my inventory. These are specific to the mission. And find my crafting tool. It needs to be the generic. And then come over and we go to mission, which is a new tab. You won't normally have this. And then we click here, click there. Just keep double clicking. Assemble, next. Make sure practice mode is off. Use another crafting tool. Make sure practice mode is off. Oh, by the way, you don't want to rename them. Okay, now we go back to the starport. Let's get on target, and we come over here to the planetary map. And both of my missions are over here. Okay, so we're going to Moena. So we run into the starport. This is the ticket terminal. Click on that. We're going to go down here to Moena. This is the Moena starport. This is the Moena shuttleport. Both are the same price. So 100. Purchase ticket. Okie dokie. Run up over here. And oh good, those shuttles here. So we need to run over here to the protocol droid. Double click on him, and he will transport us to Moina. I'm not really a big fan of Moina. When I started the game on the live server, I just randomly clicked on something and ended up with Moina. And it's a really swampy, foggy kind of place. It's not really cheerful, you know? Now, when doing these, it really is beneficial to have a creature mount because it doesn't get damaged every time you pull it out. And if you're going to be doing these artisan missions, then you really need to be moving around frequently. You can't talk to them while you're mounted. Okay, that one's complete. Now, we just travel over to here. I don't know why, but it seems like my Cadu is really slow today. Or just in general. Not today, I mean, this Cadu itself should be moving a lot faster. So we double click, and now we're done. So that's a good bit more money to us, and my Windows resized itself, of course. And it's resized itself again. So now we've got 35. We were under 1,000 before. So that's actually pretty good. So we got 1,300 for one, 1,400 for another. And so if you just do those missions repeatedly, you can actually level up here without actually needing to burn through any resources. And that's how I actually got this engineering box. I got this engineering box doing those missions and doing the crafting process for making a better WGD tool. And it's really all I wanted to say in this particular video. I am going to cut it off here before I go through my grinding setup, because I think that will be a rather long video. So hit subscribe if you want to keep up with the series, and we should be able to go through most of the professions. There are some things that are very similar, so we won't really need to go through all of them, but should be able to go through most of the professions and character templates. So hit subscribe, hit like if you like my pet, and have a nice day.